And information. A city once completely destroyed is now witnessing the beginning of a new life. This reflects the determination of the nation not only to rebuild cities after destruction, but also to restore human hope and confidence in the future. Meanwhile, life is gradually returned to its natural rhythm in Shusha, the cultural capital of Azerbaijan. After many years, the return of children to their native, dignified and sustainable living spaces that were aspired to put together. We invite all of you to join efforts based on solidarity, mutual trust, shared responsibility, and common commitment to the future of humanity. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Aliyev. Our next speaker brings years of invaluable institutional expertise in shaping intergovernmental relations and urban policy. Please welcome the former Secretary of the Board of UN Habitat and Head of the Intergovernmental Relations Department, Mr. Christian Metza.
Yeah, I'm from the media. I'm taking this.
And I think you all agree with me that the volunteers we have encountered at this forum is just one of the best I have ever seen. So please, let's give them a big hand. Thank you to the organizers and the volunteers. You've done a fantastic job. So thank you very much. I am not going to bore you with what has already been said eloquently by my predecessor, but there's something interesting I want to tell you. The two women who were sitting there, the former executive director and the current executive director, were my former bosses. And so, if I do anything wrong here today, you blame it on them. Because they were the one who trained me. And I enjoyed working fondly with them. It's unfortunate they had other commitment, they had to leave early. Look, the hosting of Wolf 13 in Baku underscores Azerbaijan's growing role as a convening hub for inclusive global dialogue. As you know, peace and development springs from sustainable human development, which Ms. Aliyeva alluded to earlier. Azerbaijan's leadership in advancing multilateralism, including through the chairmanship of the non-aligned movement and its 29 presidency, has laid a solid foundation for initiatives such as this Global South NGO platform. It is timely to have a platform that brings together representatives from across the globe, especially from the South, within the framework of Group 13. It responds to the growing need for a more coordinated and representative voice of civil society in the world's fastest urbanizing regions. It is important for civil society to fulfill its role in shaping global urban and development agendas. For the first time in the history of the World Urban Forum, NGOs from Global South are coming together to establish a joint presence with a dedicated, I think it's 78 square meter pavilion given to them, enabling active engagement and visibility, which the team offers a valuable opportunity to bridge grassroots perspectives with global policy making. By doing so, we are strengthening the role of NGOs in inclusive urban development. But as we do that, let's not just think of the society. We must also continue to focus on underrepresented regions, including small island developing states, landlocked countries, and least developed countries, represented countries, religious communities, faith-based communities, and all who need help in getting it. And for that reason, I really wish to thank the organizers for bringing in all groups of people, people with disabilities. The panel alone is made up of women and men together. So, Azerbaijan, congratulations to you for a job well done. All right? And so that is what I really want to focus on. But let me delve into, when we use the word civil society, NGOs, and we tend to group all of them, and when we talk of global north and global south. But let's be very clear, global north, global south, these are terms denoting a method of grouping countries based on their defining characteristics with regard to socio-economics. The terms refer to developed and developing, and then least developing countries respectively. But you will agree with me, where would Azerbaijan fall? And where would other countries fall? You've come quite far. This is why, when I listened to the special advisor to the president, using the word cooperation is key. If we do not cooperate, the old adage of alliances is gone. Let us now begin to look at cooperation. That's why I think that this is quite significant. And when we talk of civil society, we're talking of stakeholders. When we talk of NGOs, we're talking of stakeholders. Sometimes the use of some of these words are limited. But if it says stakeholder, it means you have a stake in it. We can't go and be talking and negotiating and then you are not there. And we just say civil society, NGO. No, we cannot do that. So generally, this must be local, regional governments and the association, non-governmental organizations, academia, private sector, and philanthropic organizations, and all not-for-profit organizations, including professional women, youth, indigenous people, people with disabilities, grassroots, academic associations, and under non-governmental organizations. This is key, which we must keep in mind as we do this definition. The understanding of what civil society organizations are vary according to historical and social political context. Civil societies have been described as entities associated with the formation of particular type of society that seeks the greater and pursue common goals. Additionally, civil society organizations are also considered as non-governmental and non-for-profit organizations, but by citizens with the aim of pursuing shared values. Memuna said something very important. Civil society, and I think Ms. Aliyev also said that civil societies are the drivers of development in various contexts. But in this context, we pay special attention to those in the global south. More specifically, you who are here. You took the time to be here today. Why? You took the time to be here. Some of you traveled very far to come here. And why are you here? And more specifically, you have been playing such a crucial role in development and implementation and monitoring of nationally determined contributions that after the Paris Agreement, what happened? They decided to create climate high-level champion. Why? Because they realized when they're negotiating in the room and you don't understand, after they finish, who is to implement? You have to implement. But if you don't understand what they're talking about, how are you going to implement? Now, most of those languages that come out of the negotiation, they are negotiated languages. They don't always reflect what they meant. But so that the COP can pass, we agree to it. So I'm happy to say that Turkey is following the footsteps of Azerbaijan in organizing the COP31 this year, and also happy to say that we are quite happy to have tremendous help from Azerbaijan in the creation of Turkey. Now, most of you are wondering, why is he talking about Turkey? Now, I work for the president of the climate high-level champion for COP31, and also the president of the Zero Waste Foundation, hence the reason. And I see among you my good friend, the parliamentarian Niga, sitting over there, who is really great in helping us. And I thought I saw Sultan. He escaped already somewhere. Okay. So now, inclusive and sustainable urban models rely on strong governance, which was said earlier. So I'm just going to conclude by giving you a few successful models of inclusion. Integrated urban integration. Here I can use the Medellin and Colombia example. These are integrated. The key features here include upgrading informal settlements rather than removing them. You don't remove them, you upgrade them. That's what you do. Transport integration. Somebody said, I think it was yesterday, that housing is just not about the four corners or the walls. If there's no transportation, connecting isolated, low-income, hillside neighborhoods to city center, cable cars, or by means, how are you going to collect your taxes? They're not going to work. Yeah, because it'll be dependent on you supporting them. But if you think of it in the sense that it's the society you're creating, you collect taxes from them also. So you are not doing anybody a favor by creating public transport. New York City is not doing anyone a favor because public transport is cheap. No, they make money out of it. Each time you take that public transport, you go to work, there's taxation that they're paying for. So you're not doing anybody a favor. Then transit-oriented development. Here we have a lot, the key features: mixed-use zoning, residential, commercial, and leisure in one area, walking distance to destination. And I've seen, Baku has quite a few nice places that, you can walk around, it's a family thing, and, here really something we can all copy. Then the most important thing, ensuring affordable housing is integrated into these transit hubs, preventing gentrification from displacing low-income workers. Let us not just say, we take an area in Manhattan and say, let's increase the prices and kick the poor people out. Then that tomato seller is making you not drive and not pollute. You just go in the corner, you buy your tomatoes, it's cheaper, and you come away with it. And that is something we need to be thinking about. Participatory budgeting and planning. Memuna talked about inclusion. Well, here I use the example of Porto Alegre and Brazil. Regular community meetings, transparent decision making is key. Improved accountability and infrastructure in previously underserved areas. Then compact city and green spaces. Prioritizing, like I said, walking, cycling, public transport. Setting strict targets for carbon neutrality, increasing green spaces, and for climate resilience. Then, pro-poor slum upgrade. And here, Thailand Bandung program is the key in doing that. The key features are simple: providing secure land tenure. If you don't have land tenure, why are you going to invest in that? Improving basic services, water, sanitation. Who doesn't need them? You don't just need them in the rich areas. We all need good water and good sanitation. So, and strengthening community organizations, which is what you're doing, and I applaud you for that. This group is the group replacing the Bandung Conference. For those of you who are young enough to remember the Bandung Conference, 1955, this is what you're doing, you're beginning to do now. So I would encourage you to do it. Then finally, mobilizing community organizations, and here I use informal models such as the cooperative model. As seen in Dar es Salaam, Sumu, and other places, involving informal sectors and local organizations yields high diversion rates and social benefits. Cities should recognize and integrate waste pickers and communities into what they do. In conclusion, for me, it is extremely clear that civil society organizations have become very instrumental, to a large extent, indispensable in shaping urban development trends across the global south. Even though the concept appears to be historically rooted in both Western philosophical traditions and long-standing indigenous forms and collective organizations, civil societies have managed to navigate these two models of the concept and emerge as hybrid institutions navigating complex expectations from donors, government, and the community they serve. Their contributions span especially in urban housing, including advocacy and all. These models highlight urban development in not just technology or infrastructure, but also enhancing quality of life in everything. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to join this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mensah. Finally, to close our opening remarks, I'm incredibly proud to introduce a key leader from our newly consolidated platform, a seasoned diplomat, former Foreign Minister of Ecuador, and President of the UNRWA Advisory Board. Please welcome our Deputy Secretary General of the Global South NGO Platform for the Latin American region, Ambassador Luis Gallegos.
I have the same problem as the last speaker with the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, we confront the world in a geopolitical situation characterized by uncertainty and a world order based on the use of power or the threat of the use of power, rather than an international order based on law and the mechanisms of negotiation and conflict resolution. This scenario makes it even more important to promote the strengthening of global partnerships that will permit the resolution of the great challenges we are confronting. When we refer to the global partnership, we include nation states, private sectors, non-governmental organizations, international organizations, civil societies, local communities, academia, and all the relevant stakeholders. The confluence that many will undoubtedly introduce a level of complexity that requires a conversion of political wills to surpass the prevalence of interest that can derail the common good. When we look for decision-making to solve the problems of the international community that span borders and becomes a problem of neighboring states, entire regions, or of the global characteristics. In order to confront these challenges and overcome the problems they present to our global and national societies, we have to undertake the appropriate negotiations that can reach agreements, even if they are of a great complexity. We are in a world characterized by differences of culture, values, religions, political systems, educational systems, and each one of these nation states have and make it a challenge to agree on common positions. We also need to have clarity of facts, the understanding of problems that we are facing, so as to reach agreement, and the basis, especially of South-South cooperation. It is difficult to make decisions when solutions require a multi-system approach and the need of a political will that is people-centered. When you have participated in multiple multilateral negotiations, you understand the complex process to reach agreement. The parties must leave behind their own agendas, their interests, and overcome these barriers to reach the objectives of common good. The United Nations is the forum in which we have the opportunity to overcome our differences for the good of the world. In this particular circumstances, all of us who attended Habitat 3 in Quito, Ecuador, remember that we agreed to have a roadmap for the urbanization of the world in which we put before everything the dignity and respect of human rights and people. Today marks a historical milestone, as this is the first ever NGO forum in the history within the Urban Forum that is being held here in Azerbaijan. This important initiative has also brought together the Global South NGO platform and representatives of organizations of the third states and other countries from around the world under the shared spirit of solidarity, cooperation, and dialogue. We are proud that Azerbaijan is hosting and contributing to such a meaningful moment for the global civil society. We must have cities that respond to the needs of our people. We need cities that are fit for the lives of women, men, and children, but that take special consideration for persons aging and with disabilities that present more than 3 billion people. Decision-making is a difficult task in multilateralism, and the UN is undeniably the best forum we have for the resolution of the world's problems, and the NGOs must be part of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you to all of our distinguished speakers for those inspiring and grounding opening remarks. You have set a phenomenal base for why we are here. We will now transition directly into the core of our forum, our highly anticipated panel discussion. The title of this session is Sustainable and Inclusive Urban Planning, Global Partnerships and the Influence of NGOs in Decision Making. To guide this critical conversation, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce our moderator. She is a prominent legislator and advocate for sustainable development and served as the UN Climate Change High-Level Champion for COP29 right here in Baku.